Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Divinely Crowned Conversations podcast. I am your girl, Davina, and I am so grateful that you decided to tune into this episode of the Divinely Crowned Conversations podcast. Before we get into this episode with my divine guest, I want to make sure I give my announcements. You guys, I'm getting better at sharing my announcements with you guys. So, just a reminder, make sure you like this video, share this video, tell a friend to tell a friend to come join the Divinely Crowned conversation. Make sure you are liking Divinely Crowned on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I'm sorry, not Twitter, because I don't do Twitter, TikTok and YouTube. And then make sure you're also subscribed to the podcast on audio on Spotify and Apple Music, as well as making sure you are following us on our website at DivinelyCROWN'D.com. And also, just a reminder, I am taking coaching clients for confidence coaching. I have my summer sale of 5 sessions for $400. So y'all want to get that while it's good. That's going to be until the end of end of August. I'm having that summer sale on my services. So if you are in need of some support and just becoming a more confident version of yourself in all the ways, make sure you DM your girl and we can get that set up. And also, what else do I have for you guys? Oh, yes. If you are in Erie, PA and are looking for a fun event, I am still volunteering to be a part of the Safe Net Bloom Under the Moon Garden Party, which benefits SafeNet and their programming. So if you're looking for a good time, that's going to be August 11th. Tickets are $125, but listen, it's worth it. We have the Breeze Band, live music. We have all you can eat food and open bar and just great vibes. And Divinely Crowned is going to come show out with the vibes as well. So if you're looking for something to get dressed up for, make sure you get your ticket soon. You can just go to safenet.com or .org, and get those tickets. But my announcements are done. We're going to get into this conversation tonight. So tonight I have my divine guest, Brianna, with me tonight. So I'm going to bring her onto the screen because she is virtual. So I'm going to bring her on. Hello, Brianna.
Hey, how are you?
Good. So,
Good.
yes, this is my divine guest, Brianna Jackson. Why don't you introduce yourself to the people?
Yes, ma'am. I am Brianna Jackson, as she mentioned. Originally from Erie, Pennsylvania, of course. Currently residing in Houston, Texas.
Yes.
Where do I start? I do a little bit of everything.
We gonna get into it too,
I was
y'all.
gonna say, I don't even know where to start. I am a wife, a mother, I like to think that I'm pretty awesome friend, full-time school counselor. I love my babies. I've been in the military for 16, 15, 17, a good amount of years. I stopped counting after a while. Military, travel, business. I do it all. So I don't know where to start, but
listen, we're going to break it all down through your journey. And that's what I forgot to say, guys. So, I love my comments, people getting in the comments. So make sure you comment. We talk to you and talk to us and we'll talk back. And we already have our first person in the comments, Miss Dominique. She said, we live, baby. Yes. That's one of your best friends, right?
It is.
That's we're trying to get her on here too. She's gonna get on here. Maybe now that you're on,
she's coming. Don't worry, she's coming.
And we have Keithan in the comments. He said,
brother.
When I start doing the Kings, when I start doing the Kings, I'm definitely gonna have Keithan on here. We got one of my previous divine. Look at y'all. Michelle, she's one of my previous divine guests.
Yes.
Oh, Dominique, she said, I know I play, been busy lately. I've been on. Yes, I know. I've been seeing you be busy. But yes, so I always like to start with like the background of how I know my divine guests, if I know them. And obviously, you being an Erie, I do know you. I actually know was closer to your sister, Jasmine, going to school.
Butterfly. She knows a lot more people in Erie than I do.
Yes.
I'm Jasmine's sister.
Like a month ago.
It's like, you Jasmine's sister, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
It's all good. So just from growing up in school, I just remember you always your demeanor is still the same, this quiet nature, but so sweet. So I just was like keeping up with you on social media. I'm like, I definitely got to get her on. And like you said, she ran down her list a little quick of like all the things that she is going on. And I was like, yes, I have to get Brianna on here to share her journey. And Keithan told me in the post, he's like, she about to drop some gems. I'm like, oh, I already know. So
yeah, we're here for it. So I appreciate you for having me for sure.
So let's get into this conversation. So Divinely Crowned is all about having open, honest, and transparent conversations about where we come from, where we're at, and where we're going. So I always like to start at the beginning of your journey. You said you're from Erie. So tell me what young Brianna was like.
Young Brianna. I was actually pretty chill. Like you said, I was very quiet, very kind of reserved, but friendly, very social. I feel like I had a lot of friends or a lot of associates. I didn't really necessarily run with any particular crowd or anything like that. It was like I was kind of like that middle person where it's like I wasn't the cool kid, but I also wasn't, lame or anything like that. So it was just kind of like, I'm just here, hey, y'all, I get along with everybody. I talk to everybody, socialize with everybody, but I still kind of sit back and do my thing. And I had my close friends, more so once we got to middle school, and then into high school. I had some pretty good close friends, some that I still keep in touch with to this day. But yeah, I was just very low key, very mellow. In hindsight, I think I appreciate my childhood. Shout out to Erie. I know people have mixed feelings about Erie, of course, and clearly I left because it was a must. But I will admit though, growing up childhood wise, I had a great childhood. I would say that Erie is one of, in my opinion, the most diverse places I've ever lived.
Really?
Yes. So my elementary school, which I went to Lincoln, elementary was very diverse in my opinion. And then for middle school, I went to Wilson, which again was very diverse in my opinion. So I think that, I'm sorry, y'all, my dog is in the back. A mess. She's probably like my brother or my husband or something, but doing the most. Sorry. But no, middle school was definitely, I would say honestly, a highlight of my childhood. So just the diversity that I did experience at Wilson was awesome. And then for high school, I ended up going to collegiate, which was also awesome. But it was way less diverse. We were like the Black girl crew. So that was collegiate, but it was still a beautiful experience because we still, even though it was cliquey, like typical high school cliques, kind of like the jocks and athletes and, the Black girl crew and, the kind of nerds or, whatever you want to say. We still all loved each other. We all, cared about each other. We were still all cool. So my high school experience was awesome as well. And then I was like, gotta go. Time to go.
Like, it's been real. So even going back to how you said like it's very diverse. That's actually interesting because I feel like I don't hear that too often that it was like, I enjoyed it. You live in Texas and you're like,
Mhm.
it's very diverse. And I know that's not the only place you've lived, but to say like, you came from a very diverse city. I'm like 50-50 on if I feel like that. It's like, I
Yeah.
feel like maybe culturally, I don't know, like how I feel like we're so still not like cultured as well as we
Mhm.
could be or should be.
Yeah.
So from your perspective to say that, I think that's a beautiful thing to
Well,
feel
I
that.
think the people are there, and that's the thing that I appreciated about it. And I
Mhm.
think maybe there may have been a bit of a shift now. I don't know what it's like
Mhm.
for this current
Yeah.
generation, but when I was younger, I mean, when you look at all of the different races, I think it was like a breakdown of
Mhm.
ethnicities as well. Like you had
Mhm.
Black, you had African, you
Mhm.
had Italians, you had
Mhm. Mhm.
Polish, you had Bosnian, you had
Mhm.
Iraqi, you had
Yes.
Afghani, you
Yeah.
had like Wilson was like a melting pot,
Melting
and
pot.
like
Mhm.
you had literally everyone in that school. I graduated Wilson in 2004. So if anybody's watching that was there around the
Mhm.
time I was there, like really sit and think about
Yeah.
the people that we had at our school. And I can't speak for some of the other schools around the city, but I feel like my experience on the east side and at Wilson and then on
Mhm.
to Academy and even Lincoln, but I don't have as many memories of
Mhm.
elementary school. I know it was fairly diverse. I know we had great times, but I think Wilson was like the
Mhm.
pinnacle for me of like really navigating myself,
Mhm.
my identity, where I wanted to be, which direction I wanted to
Wow. Yeah.
go, which group I wanted to be a part of,
Mhm.
what activities I wanted to partake in, because stuff was happening in middle school.
Yes, yeah. And
So,
you know what? You're right. Like you said, like if you actually really sit and think, because like elementary, middle, high school were the best times. I'm like, I'm 32 and I'm like, oh, I miss those
miss it.
days of just, it was different. And that when you do sit back and think, I'm like, yeah, you're right. It was very diverse. We had so much different things going on in school. A
Mhm.
lot of things that I think our kids lacking now in
Yeah.
our school. So
My
maybe
mom
just
had
thinking of
me
like where we're
in
at.
everything, every
Yeah.
program that was happening. Miss Cool, she
Yes.
had all the programs going and walking in Black history and
Yep.
like all these different JFK, this and just everything that was happening in the city. I don't know if those things are still happening, but I know
Yeah.
I was in the mix.
Yeah.
Like,
You listen,
I
and
was
you're right. Those things were
participating.
definitely. I never got to. My mom, it was like, no, yeah, my baby's got to stay close. So we did a lot of things, but there was things like walking Black history. I always wanted to go, but never got to go. But I think they still do that. I think I just saw them posting
I
about
thought
the.
I saw them within the
Yeah,
last year or two. I think I
yeah.
saw them
I have
going,
Dominique. She
which
said
is
different
awesome.
nationalities. Remember all the flags at East showing them. Oh, see, I wasn't. I don't know if I saw that East, but we did have a lot of different things going on with the diversity. So, but it sounds like, nonetheless, your journey through like school. I feel like elementary to high school is like really sometimes how you kind of find who you are a little bit. And it's like those
It's the
memories, like
start.
I feel, yeah, they definitely stick with you. And it's like, I know, like I said, I'm like a grown woman, but it's like I think of those things still now, like, wow, even having children now, and it's like, wow, like all the things we did, like sound like our parents back in the day, like, but it's
Mhm.
so true that
Life
we
was
had these.
also very simple then too. So that's
Yes.
another reason why I miss it, because it was like I didn't have to worry about all of this.
Yeah.
Adulting stuff is
Yes. And even how you said like you would kind of were in the middle. You're like, I wasn't the most popular, but I wasn't like the one that was like an outcast, but you were able to kind of connect with so many different people. And like, how do you feel like that kind of even shaped how you were as a young woman growing up?
to be honest, I think between that and then me transitioning into the military, like I did
Mm-hmm.
JROTC in high school at East, even though I went to collegiate.
Mm-hmm.
And then I joined the military when I was 17, still in high school,
Mm-hmm.
getting
Wow.
ready to graduate. And I think all of those experiences really allowed me to be a diverse person, be a well rounded
Mm-hmm.
individual. because I wasn't in a space where it was predominantly this or predominantly that. There was
Mm-hmm.
so much of a mix, and I
Mm-hmm.
was able to be around so many different people and be open to so many different people. Because my mom was never, I mean, not that I noticed, was never against any particular
Yeah.
person, you know? So
Yeah.
it was just like, you're a person, I'm a person. I'm definitely not like, I don't see color or anything, but
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I never had a reason to dislike someone because of
Mm.
who they were. So it was
Yeah.
just, I was just a friendly person and
Yeah.
everyone was cool. So I think that made me, it made it easy for me to adapt to any
Mm.
situation I was in. So when I joined the military and I go into a situation where I may be the only Black person or the only Black female, you know, or the only female, you know, in the
Mm-hmm.
situation, I'm still comfortable and confident in who I am. You know, I
Mm.
go and I lived in the Middle East for 2 years. And some people, when they get off the plane and they see the dress and, you know, just the way people look, people went home.
Wow.
Like people, the culture shock for people is extreme because they're used to what they're used to. And then they're,
Yeah.
you know, familiar with or haven't been around different types of people. When they get around different types of people, then it's very
Yes.
uncomfortable, you know, and people don't know
Wow.
they're uncomfortable. So I definitely think my childhood in that regard, as far as diversity, has set me up to be a super well-rounded person. And
That's
I want that for my
beautiful.
kids as well.
I love, first of all, I love, I mean, first of all, it's interesting. You said like people were ready to go home when they saw the culture shock, which it's like, you would think that if you're going into the military, you know, you're going to be around many different cultures and things like that. So for people to be like,
Well,
no.
let me clarify. So when I
Mhm.
went to live, I lived in Kuwait for 2 years to
Wow.
work as a school counselor. I worked as a school counselor. So I actually took a break from the military to go over there.
Mhm.
So I wasn't in the military at the
Oh,
time.
wow.
I stopped, just paused the military to go over there, and I was working as a civilian. So I was working
Okay.
at a Kuwaiti school. So it was like, you know, other people just like you know, if you had gone over there and you had gotten a
Yeah.
job at my school, when you got to the mall and you see everybody in their dress, and you know, this is just their everyday dress. This is
Mhm.
what they wear. You're like, this is different. You know, I don't feel comfortable, or this is too
Yeah.
much, or I don't know if you've ever experienced culture shock, but it can be a lot for some people. And they are like, people were definitely like, get somebody else to do it, and left, and left.
Wow. So what kind, okay, so I'm gonna come back to this part of your journey because this was a little bit when you were older, but we talk about mama, and I know your mom. I believe we used to work together at Kmart.
I- yes,
Yeah.
just yes, that's
So
her.
yes. So like tell me your family dynamic. You're the oldest?
So I am the oldest of my mother's children.
Okay.
And then Keithan, he popped on
Mm-hmm.
here. That's my older. Technically, I'm the oldest of everybody, but that's my older brother. Technically, of my father's
Okay.
children. Growing up, I had my mom and dad, and then they ended up splitting, ultimately
Mm-hmm.
getting a divorce. And
Mm-hmm.
then my mom remarried. My dad also remarried, but he moved out of Erie. So
Okay.
a majority of my upbringing, after probably about 12 or so, was with my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, like I said, my dad was there, but once he moved, we would just go, you know, stay the summer in Atlanta
Mm-hmm.
or St. Louis, depending on
Mm-hmm.
where he was at the time. So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, now it's my mom's still with her husband. My dad has divorced, but he
Mm-hmm.
actually moved down here, and everybody's here, which is
Oh,
exciting. Yes, so that's the
wait, your
thing.
mom's there too?
My mom and my stepdad moved down because my stepdad wanted to be around his grandkids, which we didn't even have, and I didn't have a kid at the time, but he just knew it was going to happen.
So I'm just gonna speak it
So
into
we just
existence.
come on down, and we're gonna be there when it happens. So
Oh
I
my
got the
goodness.
tribe is thick, girl. I tell you, they
Yeah,
don't play. They don't
we
play.
gonna get into it.
They moved down, and I have a little brother. He's actually here,
Yep.
but we're out minding their business in another. So I have a younger brother as well. He's 10.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's me and then, you know, my sister,
Yep.
my older brother. Um, yeah, so my mom and them moved down a couple years back. My
That's
sister is now
awesome.
down here. She moved down here.
Okay.
Yeah, she moved to Atlanta at first, and now she's down here.
Yes. I saw her about a month ago, maybe at Country Fair. I'm like, what
She
are you
comes back
doing
in and out
here?
here. You know, she can't stay away, but she does live here in Houston.
Listen, but like, okay, so we talk about, support is thick, and your family is like, listen, I want to move so bad. I've been wanting to move since before I had
Oh,
my
girl,
daughter, and then I had
calm
my daughter, and
down.
then I'm a son. And yeah, so one day I'm gonna move out of Erie, but like being able to have that where your family's like, no, we're gonna stick together. Your stepfather's like, listen, I know grandbabies are coming. I'm coming all the way to Texas. We're gonna move. Like, how is that for you? Because I know a lot of people, so like that holds people back sometimes for moving out of Erie is the fact
Mhm.
of I'm not leaving my support system. But for you to be able to say that, like, no, my support system came with me. Like, how is that experience?
So they eventually came. I
Mm-hmm.
am very my mom raised us to be very independent.
Mm.
So it was never in my mind, like, once I graduate high school, I want to stay here with my mom. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not a
Mm-hmm.
thing. Or I want to go move where my dad is. Like,
Yeah.
I want to do what I want to do. I'm ready to get out of Erie. Like there's an entire world for me to experience.
Yeah.
I'm leaving,
Yeah.
and then, I catch y'all on the flip side, or however things look. I will see y'all again. No worries. So, once everybody started moving down, which wasn't until I was probably like 30, 31, maybe 29. I don't know, remember when they moved down.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. It was a transition because my parents moved in with me first, um,
Mm.
until they got their house down here.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got their house, so now they're probably about 10 minutes away. But
I love that.
it was a good transition though, because my mom taught us to be independent,
Mm-hmm.
but she was still always there.
There. Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
it was very much so if y'all need me, I'm here,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm expecting you. And she never said that she had certain expectations of us,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like, I think she just knew the type of women that we grew to be, that
Mm.
she knew that we were going to go out and do our own thing. And then if we needed her, she was
She was
there,
there.
so that it was a smooth transition, and they moved
Yeah.
down. I think, to be honest, the hardest transition for me was actually asking for help.
Oof.
Because I'm not, I am
Yeah.
not the type of person to ask for help. I
Mm-hmm.
hate it. I don't like it.
Do you feel like that comes from the fact of how you were raised to be an independent woman? Because that's a topic that is heavy. Independent women, most of the time, independent Black women,
Mhm.
they don't need nobody. Like that is this, like it's supposed to be seen as this bad thing, or like this
Yeah.
bad stigma, but like talk to me about that. Take me through that.
You
Real quick though,
know,
Keithan did say, he said, I totally agree. I had that mindset in high school as well. I believe he's talking about when I said like people like they don't want to move out of Erie because their support systems here.
yeah,
But
yeah, when that's
yeah.
all you know, especially. Um, I think for me,
Mm-hmm.
and therapy helped me realize a lot
Mm.
of what I've experienced and what my thoughts and perspectives are now. But I realized that my therapist put me on inner vows, right?
Okay.
And at one point, I made a vow to myself that I'm gonna always be good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I grew up, my parents would get me whatever we needed, but there came a point in time where I would ask for things and it would be like no, I'm not getting that. You don't need that, or call your dad or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
then there will be times where I might ask my dad for something and he doesn't send it, or doesn't get it, and I'm frustrated because now I feel like I'm begging.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't like that. So you know
Yeah.
what? At that point, I was old enough to kind of, get a job and start. And my
Mm-hmm.
mom really didn't want me to, but I was like, look here, if y'all not gonna get me what I want,
Right. Then I'm gonna get it
I'm
from
gonna get a job and I'm gonna get myself what I want. And
yes.
she was fine with it. as long as it didn't interfere with school and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I made that vow to myself that I was always going to be good. So
Mm.
what I learned too from a dope Instagram page that I follow is hyper independence is a trauma response.
Mm-hmm.
And that trauma is stemming from that inner vow and the lack of security and lack of trust that I
Mm-hmm.
built and created with asking my parents, particularly my dad, for
Mm-hmm.
things or expecting them to show up in ways that I needed and they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like
Mm.
instead of me begging, instead of me asking over and over and over again, I'm gonna just make sure I'm good. I don't need anybody else to do anything for me. I'm not asking anyone for anything. I got me, and I'm gonna always have me.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue with that is, and I don't want to get into a whole therapy session, but
Oh, go ahead. Listen,
when
these are
she
the
put
type
me
of
on,
conversations.
I was like, this is it. This is. She was like, girl, but you have to break the vow
Listen.
because I made this vow to myself, and then I begin self-sabotaging because I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, I got it, I got it. No, I don't want you to do it. But then I end up, married and in a relationship where now I'm resenting you because I feel like you're not doing X, Y, and Z or la, la, la. But I won't even let you,
Mm.
allowing you the space and the opportunity to do because no, I got it. Or, oh, I don't trust that you're going to do it right. Or you're
Yeah.
not doing it right. Like now you're doing it, but here I come critiquing you and, telling you to do it this way and that. So then that's a whole thing. But yeah, it's so for me, the hyper independence and I can do bad all by myself,
Mm.
I don't necessarily think mine is the no, maybe it is. Maybe it is.
Oh, we having a
Maybe
session.
it is. Maybe it is a typical Black woman thing, and I think a lot of us don't realize our hyper independence is a trauma response.
Is a trauma. And I can totally
getting our needs met.
Yeah, and I definitely I do believe that. I think for a lot of women, whether they want to sometimes admit it or not, because that's a hard thing to have to admit, or have to realize that is not okay. You deserve help and support, and two, you should not have to do everything on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a trauma response because if the average person goes to therapy, they probably will hear the same thing you've heard. I've heard similar things. It's like, yes, it's great to be independent and know you can take care of yourself or whatever. But at the same time, you don't have, you shouldn't have to. And that's it. You need people. Just like you said, you have a support. We need people. I just saw there's that meme that goes around sometimes. It's like even adults need a tribe. And it's like, that is so true. It's not healthy to do everything all alone. Because then you deal with these things of, like you said, those trauma responses and those having to unlearn that type of things when you get married or even have friends that are like, listen, let me help you. Like I had to deal with that with a friendship. Like my one best friend, I'm so used to being the one of the friends that's always giving and giving and giving and giving and getting
kind
of the bare minimum.
Friend too.
Yeah. And then when I have a friend that actually matches, it's like, Davina, how can I serve you? How can I help you? How can I pour into you?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like it. No, I don't want you to do this for me.
You want to get me, or what do you like? No, you have to.
Like, why are you doing this?
But I got used. But I got used to it though, and I got used to it once I had my baby. Because and I think it was that transition of it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
But then I realized in the midst of now I'm raising this child and like all my villages come together and they're like sending me food, sending me cleaning services and doula support and like checking in to see what I need. My perspective shifted from it's not just about my child, it's about me too. And it's okay to say, hey, I'm not okay, and ask for help, or say, hey, I could use, or hey, can you help me with this, or can you do this for me? So that definitely changed a lot for the good.
Yeah.
Because the big
do
thing, my
something.
therapist was very much so like, I remember one time I was talking to her and I was telling her, you know, sometimes I have a lot going on and I don't really feel like I have anyone that I can go to share, you know, but when we kind of got into the conversation, I realized it was me because she was like, well, did you ask your friend if you would be a burden? Or did you ask your friend if, you know, does she have the time for you? And I'm like, no, but well, how do you know then if you don't ask? You know, so it was just conversations like that that really shifted things for me where it was like, yeah, I need to start communicating more and I need to be more vulnerable, open up more because I do have that support system and I have awesome people in my life that want to support me in the same ways that I support them, if not more, to be honest. So,
yeah. So do you feel like, because we talk about therapy and I'm big on that. Like, listen, I'm always telling people, go to therapy. I've been in therapy for almost, I think it's 6 years, like on and off. But like, do you feel like you would have been able to recognize these things without going to therapy?
Possibly. And that's because I am a more emotionally intelligent person, but that's also because I am a counselor.
Yes.
So some things it's like I get and I see that other people may not get and see. But even as a counselor, there's still a lot that I didn't get and see, you know? So it was like therapy was that extra couple layers, honestly, of that. And sometimes you just need to hear things in a different, like stuff that you know. But then when the therapist words it a certain way or gives it to you in a different perspective, you're like, dang. Hey, I need to think about it like that. And the likelihood of you getting that from a family or a friend, you family member or a friend, not as likely unless someone like me is your family or friend, or you have someone, you know, really wise or something like that in your circle. But yeah, I think therapy it's necessary. It's necessary to really process through a lot of what has happened and what is currently happening. Because a lot of people think that they, you know, they can just go talk to their friend or, you know, they can talk to their family member or, you know, they can go, you know, work out and whatever, even journaling, you know, it's like, yes, those things may help, but are those things and those people going to be able to help you process, really break down? Because without my therapist, I wouldn't have known about inner vows. I wouldn't have gotten to the root of the issue is some parts of my childhood. I wouldn't have, you know, realized some of the resentments that I had if I hadn't had someone guiding me and giving me that support and those resources to look at it this way. So yeah, I definitely think therapy is a must for everyone. People think you have to be like, you know, going crazy or something to go to therapy. Baby, just like you go get your car inspected or you go get a physical just to make sure you're in good health, like have that same energy for your mental health, your mental and emotional health. Your mental and emotion, your brain and your mind, not even your brain, your mind drives you. Without your mind, you don't even have your physical body. So that, you know, working out and eating good and, you know, going to the doctor and getting checked and all of that's cool. But when your mind is not where it needs to be, that's irrelevant.
Listen, I'm sitting here just cheesing at everything because I was going to ask, like, what is your perspective? You just go ahead and let all.
I get on a box and I just, because I'm a huge advocate for therapy. And I think people we're getting further into people being more accepting, but I do think people still try to push back on therapy. Like it's like this negative thing or something has to be wrong with you, you know, to go and just talk to somebody. Like, and it's better for it to be someone that you don't know because there's no bias to it. They don't know you. They don't know you.
Listen, and I love that you said
your parents or, you know, your family members or even sometimes your friends, depending on who your friends are. So
No, yes, therapy. And I even love how you said, listen, I'm a counselor. Like I'm a confidence life coach. I mean, I highly recommend my clients to go to therapy, especially because like dealing with confidence a lot of times does come from the trauma or whatever was going on in your past. And it's like sometimes no, not that sometimes, a lot of times you need both. Like you need the therapy to deal with that trauma or whatever's going on in your past, but also it's like, well, why do you lack confidence in many different areas? And it's because of those things. So I'm like you said, a huge advocate, but like you said, like you're a whole counselor, but you're like, listen, I have that time for myself. You know, I'm helping people, but I need that help too. And it's good to have that because like you said, like there's certain ways that they may have viewed things or been able to have you view things that you didn't think before. And it's like, no, our family, I feel like our family and friends, one, sometimes don't know how to respond to us. And a lot of times they do it with an emotional feeling attached to whatever they're trying to get you to.
What they think you want to hear.
Yeah.
Or they're telling you what they think you should do. Or,
yeah.
You know, so it's like that bias is always going to be there because there's that relationship. When you have a therapist, there is none of that. They have no emotional attachment to you. They have no relationship to you other than being your therapist. That's it.
And supporting you to get healed.
Figure out what it is that you need and help you navigate it. And you can't really do that on your own with the one-sided perspective. You need something else, you know, to add to it. So
yes. Well, thank you for your insight on that. Say that again.
I said, go to therapy, y'all.
Go to therapy. No, thank you for your insight on that. And I hope that whether you're watching now or listening later, like you really take heed to what Brianna was saying, because I think she definitely gave a lot of wisdom to therapy. Like I said, like she said, though, we're both huge advocates of that. Like I will be an advocate forever. I used to be the type of person to be like, I used to think growing up, like, oh, you only go to therapy or all these counseling things if you're like really throw it off. But it's like, no, the average person needs therapy. Like we all need it for some part of our life, even if it's temporary. We need it. Even the most intelligent people need therapy. We have Britt. She said, I sure need it. Get you. Listen.
You do, because you've been talking about it. And I'm waiting for you to say that you done started. Okay?
Listen, there are some. Listen, she knew not to get on here because we both gonna get on.
She know. I think I done slid into one of her posts before. Like, girl, yes, go ahead and go.
This is your sign to go to get your therapist. Listen, I am always trying to share resources in Erie. We have great therapist centers, but also there is some really great online ones. I even believe for Black women, I don't know if it's open right now, but there's literally a grant that I'm going to have to find all it and I'll put it in the show notes. But like there's a grant for Black women specifically for so many sessions, and they have like all these Black therapists. I forget the exact name, but I will get that and put it in the show notes. We all need therapy. Okay.
I think people's number one rebuttal for me is that it's expensive. I'm like, first of all, if your job has an EAP, everybody remember this EAP. If your job has an EAP, it's likely providing free counseling up until a certain number of sessions. There's free counseling in a lot of different places. You just need to look out for it. And if it's not free, insurance is probably covering it now at this point, especially with the rise in mental health issues and concerns. And the most you're going to pay is a copay. So my thing is, you have to invest in yourself first, right? So when we talk about not pouring, you can't pour from an empty cup. You know, you put your mask on first before you care for. You have to invest in yourself first. If you don't go pay that $25 a session, go at least twice a month just to get you started. That's $50. You spend $50 in a week eating out. That food is going in and it's coming out, and it's not doing anything but breaking your body down. But you don't want to spend $50 a month to go to therapy to get your mental right. Okay, I need you to change that energy. Go ahead and get you some therapy and stop playing. And another thing, a lot of people, because I like how you said I've been going for several years now. and so have I,
Mhm.
both individual and couples. And I
Mm.
think it's very important, because another rebuttal that I get is, well, I tried it once and I didn't like it, so I didn't go back. I didn't
Say
like the
that.
therapist. And it's like, baby, if I go to a doctor's office and I don't like what they're saying, or I feel like they're not listening to me, what do I do?
Yeah. Go
I
to
go find
find a second one.
somebody else.
Yep. Go
But
to another
everyone's
one.
so quick to give up on, well, I didn't like this therapist, so I just gave up on me. I just said, forget it. I don't need it. Like, no, my back's still hurting, and the first doctor
Mhm.
didn't figure it out. I'm gonna go try to find another doctor.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like, you gotta have
Listen.
energy for your money.
That just made me think of like the chiropractor. You gotta, even if it's the same therapist, like just like the chiropractor, they adjust you once. You gotta keep going back for a while to get fully adjusted. So I know. Listen, Nick, she said I am y'all, and then she put the heart hands, and Dominique
Mhm.
said $50 in her social.
She annoying.
Can hear it too. But no, she's so right. And listen, I'm over here like cheesing because I'm like, come on and tell the people, drop the gems because this is something.
Take y'all butts to therapy and stop playing with us and stop
Stop
playing with
playing with your
yourself.
mental. Listen, I always tell people like you have to fight for your life, like your mental, your well-being, for your breaking. Listen, therapy is part of breaking generational curses. We did not talk about this growing up. This was not a thing. So we are the
We all
generation that
had
is.
anxiety. We were all stressed out.
Listen,
Wasn't nobody calling to none of that. Go sit your butt down somewhere and be quiet.
we have
Okay.
Adrian. She said, dropping straight gems. Okay.
That's my baby.
I love it. Oh, listen, we already 40 minutes in and Brianna is giving us all the gems already. I
How
love
long is
it.
this? Because I feel like we're going to be here for a
We're going
while.
to be here for a minute.
We just
So,
getting
yeah.
to the tip
So,
of the iceberg.
listen. We might have to do part 2 or something. I have some great things in mind for the future. So, you definitely ain't going nowhere now. Just so you know, when you sign up, just know. But yeah, so let's fast forward, and I want to get into like, where did this wanting to be in JROTC and being in the military, like where did that come from? And before you answer that, we have Derry. Well, listen, she her name like 1,000 different times. I know her as Jazz.
That's Jasmine.
This is Brianna's sister. She said, "Where my baby?"
I don't matter anymore. People only look for my son.
Listen,
and it's
once
funny
you
because
have
my
kids,
husband and my son just came to the door because he was trying to ask me a question like I'm not clearly in a podcast, because I told him I was doing this. And I almost told him to bring him in so y'all could say hey, but then they
you come. I told you. Listen, we
yeah,
accept
I'll
babies
text
on
him
this
and tell him to bring
podcast.
him back in. But yeah, Jasmine, she don't care.
Jasmine changes her Facebook name so much. I don't know how to look her up. But yeah, so the military, like, where did that like come from? Is that something you've always wanted to do, or what made you get into that?
You know what? No, I actually, one of my friends, she was doing ROTC at East.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to change my schedule for some reason. I don't remember why. She was like, just do ROTC. And I was kind of like, ROTC, Army. I don't know if I want to do that. But I ultimately decided to do it. I loved it. It was different, but I like being different. That's something about me that's like, again, where middle school and high school were my times to really find myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I was never one to really gravitate towards what everyone else was doing per se.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, if everyone's doing it and I like it, cool. But if it's something that I'm not really, liking, then I'm gonna go this way.
Mm-hmm.
So I did ROTC. And I ended up doing it, I think, all 4 years.
Hey, and while you're getting the baby Jackson, you should LOL see they expect them. And then she said, "This is my last change for a while. This is her last name change for a while." I love it.
Dogs in here, the baby's in here.
I love it. The
Yeah, you know he heavy. We gonna say hey.
Oh my god. Hello. What's his name?
His name is Tommy. Tommy, aka his glasses look crazy.
I love
Tommy,
it.
aka TJ, aka Trey, aka Stink Butt.
All the nicknames. I love it. Hello, baby.
Say hey.
Hey.
All right, I know we don't have a lot of time.
He made his baby debut. Listen, Mom's first podcast and his too. I love it.
Go in there. She can go in there. That's fine. Sorry, y'all.
Look at
Press. Yeah, that's her nickname.
All poor kids and all their nicknames. I love it.
Yeah, he has about 5,000 nicknames.
Yeah, so do mine.
I make sure at school they just call him by his name, but even they've given him a nickname. They call him Tom Tom at school, which is like, where y'all get
Listen,
that?
and he know all of them. So,
but okay, back to the military. So yeah, I decided. Long story short, I decided to do it, and I am definitely go. Let me let her out because
okay.
About to do the most. Go ahead. Thank you. Military. So yeah, I did it for 4 years, and I am a leaper, what I call a leaper. So I'm very big on taking leaps, having faith, and acknowledging that whatever I decide to do, dang, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about something that I've been kind of like backing out on, and it's like I need to bring this energy back because I haven't been leaping here lately. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna work on that.
Okay.
I am a leaper, and I genuinely believe that whatever I do, I'm not gonna die. You know, like I'll be good. God got me. Yes. So I was like, you know what? Why not go to the Army? Why not make it a thing? I did ROTC in high school. I enjoyed it. I chose not to do ROTC in college because I'm lazy and I didn't want to have to wake up to do PT in the morning and go on little missions and stuff. And then I had already decided too that I was going to join the Army Reserves. So I could have done the Army Reserves and Army ROTC in college.
Okay.
I just scratched the Army ROTC in college and just stayed with the reserves. Which I probably could have done. I don't want to say should have because I don't have any regrets. If I had done ROTC in college, then I would have graduated as an officer.
Wow.
But God has a plan, you know, so, and I'm going along with it. So I'm actually now getting ready to become an officer, and I leave for training in January.
Good for you.
Yeah. Definitely.
So this is something you've been in. You've been in the military. So Army Reserves, can you, because I don't be knowing the difference. So what is the reserves versus just being in the actual?
The reserves is, so we go to our unit 1 week in a month, a couple weeks in the summer to support whatever mission they need, versus active duty, which is where you live on a military base and you're a soldier 24/7. Your job full-time is working for and in the military. I knew that is not something that I wanted to do because I knew I wanted to go to college. But that was my way of, okay, I can go to college, but I can still reap the benefits and the experiences of doing the military.
Yeah.
And the benefits at the time were great. I got a bonus. I had the GI Bill. I had tuition assistance. So, they were helping and paying, you know, for a lot. So I was like, yeah, why? And then on top of that, if I had done ROTC, I would have gotten all of that and an ROTC scholarship.
Oh, wow.
It would have been like I forgot what they call it. Simultaneous enrollment, something like that. And I'm kind of going into detail a little bit about it because if any young people are watching,
yes,
I want them to be aware and be mindful that there are definitely options and you want to take advantage of what's available to you. So if you can do both of them at the same time and reap both of the benefits, by all means do it. I just chose not to. So,
Wow.
and
So
I've been
would
in
you So speaking of, that's what was going to be one of my questions. So is it I know when I was in high school, like ROTC was a big thing. A lot of people decided like they were going to go do something, the military, the reserve, something. But like, is that something that's still pretty big for people to want to go into the military at all these days? Or is that something they're looking for a lot more people to join the military or?
I think they're looking now that the force has decreased some, especially since COVID, because they were in the midst of like kicking people out if they didn't want to get the vaccine. You know, a lot of employees were doing that, and the military eventually got on board and was doing the same thing. So that did decrease the force a bit. So I think they're now trying to kind of pick it back up and get people back in. Are people interested? I would say people are always going to be interested in the military for various reasons, whether it's I don't have anything else to do, so I need to do something, or I want another avenue. So, you know, I want to be able to do both, or, you know, I need something now. I need, you know, the money or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. You know, for a couple years and then move on to whatever it is that I have planned. So I think it's always going to be an option for people. Yeah, and everybody has their reason for doing it. So
Okay. So would you recommend it to like these young people? I mean, we just had graduation a few months ago, and I feel like there's young like people right out of high school are still trying to figure out their way. Like, would you recommend this, or what would you say to a young person that maybe thinking about like taking that route? Like, what would you say to them?
I personally would, and I currently work at a K-8 school. So whenever we do like career week and stuff like that, I do come. I will have my uniform on. I will talk to the students, you know, that may be interested in the military. I think again, it really depends on what your ultimate goal. Not ultimate goals, but like what are your goals? What do you want to get out of it? It can be an amazing experience, and it has been an amazing experience for me. The benefits that I've gotten from it, the experiences that I've gotten from it. You know, when I transitioned from Erie to Georgia, I didn't have a job because I took another leap of faith and was like, I'm graduating with my master's. I need to find a job, but I also don't want to stay in Pittsburgh. It's dark, it's dreary. I need to get out of here. So I went on down to Georgia and moved in with a family member. And whenever I felt like I was falling behind or anything like that, the military was there. I would go on orders for 30 days, you know, 60 days, whatever, and help out at my unit or, you know, do my job at my unit. So it was like, it was my fallback. And it's always kind of been my fallback, which I feel like has been beneficial for me. And it's always fit perfectly into my life. So I personally would recommend it, especially too, because I'm big on diversifying. As I said, you know, I'm a counselor, I'm a soldier, I'm a travel agent, you know, I'm this, I'm that, I can do it all. And I think that's important because in times like COVID, for example, when travel's not happening, education is still happening. It's not going anywhere. If education were to go somewhere for some reason, I still have travel. If travel and education go somewhere, I still have the military. You know what I'm saying? So you really want to diversify yourself. I'm not saying work yourself into the ground. I'm not saying have 15 jobs. If you don't have to have 15 jobs, you don't want 15 jobs, you know, by all means, don't do that. But I'm very intentional about what I choose to do. I've never worked a job that I didn't want to work. Right?
Ooh, that's a word.
Because money is cool, and of course you need it to pay your bills and do what it is that you need to do to survive. But you also want to enjoy your life.
Yeah.
Right. So when you put yourself in situations where you're just doing things for money, or you're going to get this degree to be a doctor because doctors make a lot of money, but that's not something that you're going to enjoy long term down the road, you're going to be resentful. You're going to be burnt out. You're going to be angry. You know, you're going to be all these things instead of trying to find avenues and ways that you can monetize on things that you genuinely enjoy. I know people oftentimes say steer away from like passions and things like that. And I get it. But at the same time, you don't want to be in a situation where you have absolutely no passion for what you're doing and you just wake up and waiting to die. That's it.
I truly agree with that.
You're not doing anything. You're not happy. What are you doing?
No, and I feel like I've been hearing that more lately. It's like, no, it's not about passion, it's about profit or whatever. But it's like I've been in enough jobs where it's like I'm just doing this because it's paying the bills, blah blah blah. But like I want to look back and know like, wow, like I love what I'm doing. Like even with my business, I'm like, I love that this is my passion, and prayerfully eventually I will be successful and fully stable financially in it. But for now, like right now, I'm loving being able to be in my passion. And I have Keith in here said, money shouldn't be the goal. It should be a benefit for you. That is so true. That is, and I feel like our generation is very money driven. Everybody's trying to be making this amount of
society though, because when you go into when you travel and visit other countries, and I think that was another thing that kind of got me. I did a mission trip when I was back in college. My school does mission work in the Dominican, and I went, and you know, I was thankful I was chosen out of, I'm sure, hundreds of candidates. And we went and we put on a summer camp for the kids in this you know, kind of impoverished area. And, you know, we would wake up and they kind of gave us the heads up. Well, there may not be running water, or if it is, you know, it might be cold, and, you know, the whole shebang. I'm like, baby, I have dug a hole in the ground and slept in it. So I'll be good. But waking up there every day, like, dang, I'm not a morning person. And I'm like, I don't feel like getting up. To go outside and see a line of kids with huge smiles on their face that, for all I know, might not even ate last night. You know what I'm saying? But they're just, they're loving life. This is the highlight of their week. So it made me appreciate more the little things. And by all means, people that know me know that I'm not a minimalist by any means. You see my office already has two. Not a minimalist, but I'm very I'm simple. I'm a live below my means type of person, and I'm very big on like doing what I enjoy. And if I can find a way to make money off of that, I will.
Yes.
But if I can't make money off of it, that's okay too. I'm still doing what I enjoy. So I
love this.
And God has blessed me in that, because everything that I do that I enjoy is rooted in service as well. God put me on this planet to serve in a multitude of spaces, and I every day as I'm serving someone. Yes. More than one person. So I definitely, believe God has blessed me for that. But it has turned in ultimately into a career, like a life career life. Yeah.
Listen, this is just, I'm like, my cheeks hurt so bad because I'm just keep smiling at everything you say. It's just like, oh, this brings me joy to hear this. And I tell people all the time, listen, when my Black queens got on here, it just is like, I love it because especially like the background you have is just beautiful to see. And I'm going to speak from even maybe our city. Like you show us like anything could be possible. The sky is the limit if you are a jumper and you take that chance on and you
Mhm.
bet on yourself. And it seems like a lot of what you have done is bet on yourself and say, what does Brianna want to do? What does Brianna see for her life? And how is she going to make that happen? And I do want to kind of touch again how you did say the whole jumper thing, because I know a lot of people do struggle with like taking those chances and betting on themselves. And you're like, listen, this is kind of what I do. And you're even like, oh wait, there's something that kind of, you just had an epiphany, like there's something I need to like work on. But like take me through that, like being that type of person who is willing to take these chances, because that is a lot of times, like we talked about self-sabotaging earlier, and it's like sometimes people get in that self-sabotage mindset that it's like, I can't do this. And it's like, you're like, listen, I can do all things. Okay. So
Absolutely.
take me through that.
I don't know. I've just always been that way. One of the things that got me through basic training when I would do like my ruck marches and stuff is I would remind myself, like, you're not gonna die. Like, it is very difficult doing this 12-mile ruck march with this big sack on my back, and but I had to remind myself, you are not going to die, Brianna. Like, it is really a mental thing. And of course, physically, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I got blisters on my feet. It is tough, but is it impossible? Right? And it's not. It's only going to be as limiting as I allow it to be, right? So I think it's funny. I just did a meditation series, which I didn't finish it because I'm a slacker. But I use Headspace meditation. So I use Headspace, and they did a series, perfect timing, on seeking discomfort. And there's a YouTuber who his whole YouTube platform is about seeking discomfort and really putting himself in situations where he kind of tests his limits, right? Because the limits that we have are really up to us. We often limit ourselves and tell ourselves what we can't do. And like you said, kind of self-sabotage. So one of the things too that also got me was the video of Will Smith skydiving. And he was talking about how, I was afraid, and how I allowed fear to control me, and everything up to that point of actually jumping out of the plane was me. It was just a perceived fear that I have control over, right? And I forgot the exact, I don't want to quote it, but in essence, it was greatness or success is on the other side of fear. So until you get past that fear, that roadblock, you're not really going to truly be where you need to be or where you want to be.
Yeah.
And it's going to take work, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and it's going to be risky. I think fear of the unknown gets a lot of people as well.
A lot of us.
They're not sure how it's going to turn out, and they're not sure who's going to support, and they're not sure. You ain't going to die.
Listen.
You are not going to die. That's the number one thing.
No, for real.
No.
Listen, but did you die? Every time you say that's what I think. But did you die? And it's crazy because you're saying this, and I just made a reel today, and it was like, point of view, confidence first starts with your mindset. And it's like, if we just switch our mindset, literally, like as much as and I made another video the other day, it's like, as much as you talk negative about the like things in your mind, as much as you should talk positive, if not more. Like for every negative thing you say or think positive. Like you never know what your mind can literally control a lot of what you do. That's why we talk about
therapy. Negativity to take over though. Like when you think about social media, when you think about television, when you think about people thrive on negativity. It's so strange to me.
Very strange.
It not seeing negative things, but also being negative.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing that here recently a lot as well, because I'm like, y'all not tired?
No.
Like I feel like it's more exhausting to be it's free to be kind. It's easy to be kind.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to be intentional to be negative. You have to be intentional to, say something mean or do something mean to someone, which takes energy, which is exhausting. It's just like, I'm not understanding. But again, that's why we all need to heal.
Yeah.
Most of us are not healed. Most of us are not doing the work to put ourselves in the positions to really not only be the people that we want to be, but to receive what God even has for you.
Yes.
Because you asking for this stuff, but are you really even in a space and in a place to receive what you're asking for?
Yeah.
And most of us are not.
Girl, come on, preach.
I'm just saying, can I get some snaps? Because people like to play.
So
y'all playing on God's time. Y'all playing on y'all time. Stop playing.
Yes.
And
it's crazy because I remember when we were younger, it was like this quote that it was like, it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. Or it takes less muscles to smile, even though your cheeks be hurting. But like imagine if you just be smiling and happy more, you would feel better about yourself. But that a lot of times comes from healing, and people are holding on to so much pain that I don't even think sometimes people believe they deserve to be genuinely happy. And it comes from just not healing, and we need to heal.
Well, it's a comfortable space though. People are comfortable in negativity. People are comfortable in trauma. People are comfortable in being what they've been their entire life, which I understand.
Yeah.
When you spent 30 years of being criticized and being mistreated and being mishandled and being talked down to and talked about, and then you grow up and you kind of doing the same thing to everybody else around you, but you don't even see it and realize it because that's your norm and that's what's comfortable for you, even though deep down inside it's not okay, but it's still your norm, so you function in that, and it's difficult for you to change.
Yeah.
And it's going to be difficult. I don't want anybody to think we're on here saying like,
no, because listen,
the switch, it's not now, and life is going to be, great. That's not what we're saying.
Not at all. And I always say it takes a strong person to want to heal. Like healing is work. It's not easy.
It's exhausting.
It is exhausting. It is exhausting. But it's so worth each hurdle of healing. Like it's so worth it. Like I be telling people all the time, if somebody told me it'd be this hard to heal, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have done it. I thought, I'm on my healing journey. Okay, you think it's that okay, but it's worth it. It's worth the work. It's worth the work. I'm telling you it is. Like, but it is. There's a lot of grieving that comes with healing, unlearning and learning, but there's so much beauty in it. And a lot of us have kids, so it's like we're able to, if you're able to heal, you're able to heal not just you, but you're healing the generations after you. Absolutely. And sometimes you're healing the generations before you as well. So I want to encourage, just heal. Yeah. Heal, work on your healing.
Absolutely. And especially if you have kids, because I think that's the time that it's very necessary to really acknowledge and recognize what you have going on, because too often we project our stuff onto our kids. And they, and then it ends up being a cycle, but you have the choice to do something different. Just because when I was raised and my mom beat me and I'm fine. Are you fine?
But are you?
You're really not though. You're really not. And I'm gonna tell you straight to your face that you're not.
I am Leslie. She said absolutely 100. So we're speaking of this, children and healing, and you're a counselor. So take me through that, because you've counseled outside of our country, so internationally. Like, take me through that journey.
That was awesome. It was such an awesome time. And like, did you see it? Did you feel it? I really need to go back. And it's funny because people really try to not talk me out of going, but because it was the Middle East, people were Kuwait, isn't it dangerous? And you don't need to go over there, and it's gonna be this and that. People that, of course, don't even know where Kuwait is. If I say Kuwait, you don't even know where it is. Other than, if I tell you it's by Iraq or Afghanistan, you're like, oh my goodness, Kuwait. So a lot of people were like, yeah, you shouldn't do that, da da da. But again, the person that I am, I'm like,
but I'm going to. And I'm not gonna die.
Like, y'all know me. I don't know why y'all continue to try to do this. You know that I'm not listening to what you're saying. I'm definitely going. And it's funny because when I did my research, I came across the only people that I came across really that was talking about it were two Black females. And I was like, you know, God don't be playing. He gonna set it up and have it how it needs to be set up. He presented those two Black women, and I was like, oh, this yes, this is it. What? So I went over there. I worked for my 2 years, and it was beautiful. It was awesome. The Middle East loves us, in my opinion. And when I say us, they love Black people. They love Black women.
Wow.
I've talked to many Black men who said they felt safer in the Middle East than they do in the United States.
Wow.
I've seen people that thought they were going to be over there for 2 or 3 years, and 20 years later, they're still there.
Oh my gosh. Well, maybe I need to move to the Middle East.
Girl, I'm telling you.
Kids were moving to the Middle East.
Once these student loans are forgiven, okay, and my husband is ready to retire or whatever he wants to do, baby, we can go back. Because he came to visit me while I was over there too. So he also knows how it is, and he liked it. So don't be surprised if a couple years down the line you catch me and I'm in the
I know. Listen, I believe it too. I'll be like, it's about time. Leslie said, me too. We going, Leslie.
Y'all, come on. It's enough room for everybody.
Love it.
No, but it was an awesome experience. I loved my kids. I was working at, like I said, I was not military affiliated at all. So I was working at a Kuwaiti school. But the kids speak English, very affluent Middle Easterns, Kuwaitis specifically. I mean, parents, grandparents own airlines, and they all have maids and nannies and the whole shebang.
Oh my gosh.
But it was a great experience. That's actually where I won't say I coined it, because I feel like it's probably been a thing, but I realized that I have American privilege. Like, you know how we talk about white privilege here in the United States? We definitely have American privilege when we go to some other countries. And it changed my perspective on white perspective. I mean, white
privilege.
Privilege, thank you.
Yeah.
White privilege, actually. I felt like I could empathize a little bit more with white people, because it's something that you can't control. You know, like, you can control it in terms of responding certain ways when different situations happen, but I can't change that I'm white.
Yeah.
And I can't change the way that people perceive me because I'm white, and the way that people treat me because I'm white. Right? So it was the same way there, where it's like, you know, I could be standing in line with an African woman, and somebody may be getting ready to move their mouth to treat me a certain way. But when I open my mouth and I speak, and now you know I'm American or European, everything's all good. But you wouldn't have the same energy for the African woman that's standing behind me, you know? So it was very eye-opening, very interesting. I would be all on my kids about it, because we're not playing that. You're not about to treat this woman like that, and you treating me like this. That's what
we're my goodness.
Definitely, it was a beautiful experience, though. And then I got to do a lot of traveling. I mean, you going to Dubai for the weekend. You know, you're going to Bahrain, Oman, you know, wherever. We did Thailand for Christmas, and you're right in the middle of everything, right? So the travel was awesome.
So you've been a little bit of everywhere, a lot of places. First, I real quick, Leslie said, wow, yes, that makes sense. But I want to know, so how did you get into all this because of being in the military, or this is something you're like?
I actually was looking, when I moved to Atlanta, of course, I said I didn't have a job. I was waitressing, I was Ubering, I was almost going to get back into bottle service. I did bottle service in Pittsburgh in college. And I couldn't find a job. I was looking for a school counseling job for a year and a half before I found my job in Kuwait.
Wow.
And I was looking on a like a staffing page or whatever for educators, and they had a post for a school counselor in Dubai. Or was it? It was Dubai or Abu Dhabi. I think it was Dubai. But you had to have 2 years of experience already. And I was like, baby, the worst you gonna tell me is no. Apply. Because I'm gonna always apply. Now the worst you gonna tell me is no, but you never know what could happen. Somebody's like, well, we really need this position filled, or well, you don't really have to have this much experience. We'll take you with. Okay, cool. They were like, nah. They were like, well, it's a country thing. Like, in order for them to give you a work visa, you had to have 2 years of experience.
Okay.
But they were like, we have other countries that take new educators. Because at that point, I was still new. I hadn't had any experience because I couldn't find a job. And Kuwait was one of them. So after I did the research, I saw the 2 Black females. I was like, oh, this is it. I'm single. At the time I was single. I'm single. I don't have any kids. I have a dog. That's it.
We out.
Bye, y'all. I'm out. I'm out.
My goodness.
I don't even think I really put that much thought into it other than kind of researching to see. And you know why? Because I asked God for that. I don't necessarily want to say I asked God for it, but I do think I planted the seed of having it in my mind. Because I also studied abroad.
Okay.
My senior year of my undergrad. My school has a campus in Rome. So I studied abroad in Rome. I traveled while I was there, and I went to London and all these different places. And I was like, I remember having a conversation with myself, and I was like, it would be dope if I could live abroad and actually like work, like do my work in my field, like work. But I was like, I don't see that happening. And I never pursued it after that. I was like, oh, let me go see if I can find something in psychology, or I eventually went on to get my master's. Let me go see if I can find something in school counseling, because I think a lot of people think when you are working in education abroad, you're teaching English. That's what everybody in the United States thinks that you're doing. You're teaching English. Baby, I've never been a teacher in my life. And when I saw that they had a school counselor position posted, I was like, a school counselor in Dubai? I didn't think about this, so it was the same thing. They have positions in Kuwait. And once I got over there, they need every principals, art teachers, PE coaches, counselors. They need.
Listen, this might be a sign for somebody. Okay, you better listen. This might be your sign. It's time to go.
I'd be trying to push people out of the United States. Go. At this
place,
you
made a post
here when you get back.
I saw you made a post. I think it was like last week or something, and my sister commented. It was about moving out of
about leaving the country. Yeah. Go.
Listen, her and her wife talk about it all the time too.
Top countries for something. I forgot what is the best countries to live in. Something like that.
Oh, yes.
I commented that it didn't have the Middle East, which is the Middle East, of course, is a bunch of countries.
Yes.
But, I was like, it didn't have the Middle East, but it was love. And I also recommend the Middle East from a financial standpoint, because so Kuwait at the time, and they still probably do, has the most valuable currency in the world.
Wow.
Right? So one Kuwaiti dinar is at the time was $3.30.
Oh, wow.
$3.30. So, I had my full-time job, but I was also tutoring on the side. And when I say tutoring, I'm doing homework with a fifth grade. I'm doing homework with a kindergartner. And, I was able to also do like social skills with her because I was a counselor. So that was a charge. So all of that money was like a whole nother like a whole nother salary in essence. So definitely lots of opportunity to make money, to travel the world, to have great experiences, and it's tax-free. So I'm not giving nobody tax advice.
Listen, she is not
what I said. No, you on the IRS website. So if you work overseas, your income is tax-free up to a certain amount. If
Okay.
you work out of the country, I'll just say that. So if you work out of the country, your income is tax free up to a certain amount. And at the time that I was there, I think it was like 100,000. It's probably like up to like 120,000 or something now. So if I'm only making $100,000 a year, that's all tax free from as
Wow.
far as the U.S. taxing it, right? And then on the other side of that, Kuwait didn't have tax. So Kuwait is also not taxing me. Now, if you were to go to a place like Canada or somewhere like that, the US is what their rules are going to apply
Mm-hmm.
up to a certain amount, but Canada has tax. So then
Yeah.
they will tax you what they're going to tax you, whatever. So you want to be mindful of where you're going because you can either end up being double taxed or just taxed on, by one or not taxed at all. And then that's just money in your bank account. So these are all things
Listen.
to be mindful of. But the
And I
number
don't
one thing is to take that leap, baby.
Yeah,
Take
I
that
was
leap.
gonna say because I feel like real quick, I'm gonna get Leslie. She said yes, manifestation is real, and then she said, "LOL, do they need nurses?"
Nurses everywhere, baby, especially travel
Listen, nurses
nurses.
are needed everywhere. This your sign, Leslie. But just even how you said take that leap, these are not things that we think of on a regular basis. And for you to even be, that's why I was like, oh yes, I know you're gonna have so much knowledge and wisdom, especially with that being able to say you've traveled outside, you worked outside of the country and internationally. It's like these are not things that people think of let me go apply, get on Indeed, but put in Dubai.
No,
But
but so
these
I'm glad you said that because bait.com,
Bates.com.
BAYT, is like the
Okay.
Middle Eastern Indeed. So
Okay.
if anybody's interested,
Okay.
bait,
We will have to get that and put it in the show
BAYT.com.
notes too. But that's just like you like that is you're a risk taker, and it's beautiful to even hear you saying that leap is important and things like that, because like even how you said like you were thinking like, oh, it'd be cool to do this internationally, and it's like it literally came to
But you never
pass.
even really think about it
You
though.
never think
Like even
about.
somebody like me that's experienced living abroad and all these different things, there are still things that I don't know, or that I didn't think about or have never or probably wouldn't think of. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Until it actually happened. That's why I'm like, God is always setting me up,
Yes.
always taking care of me. I tell people all the time, He does not play about me.
About me, I
But
know
yeah,
it.
be ready. Everything happens for a reason. Good, bad, happy, and sad.
Yes.
Give thanks, be thankful, and be appreciative for what you have.
Yeah.
And know that more is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Know that more is coming for sure if you're open to
If
receiving
you're
more.
open to it. So, yeah. So, even with you saying if you're open to it, like, can you kind of maybe give some advice on I mean, what through your experience of, I feel like you, like, not you're a rare breed, but at the same time, rare because of the things like, listen, I have no limits and things like that. But, like, what if somebody kind of was holding back? Like, what would you tell them?
Um, Take the leap. That's the big thing.
Take the leap.
It kind of goes back to what I said earlier about the Will Smith comment.
Yeah.
Like greatness is on the other side of
Others.
fear. You are
Mhm.
holding yourself back.
Yeah.
Nothing is stopping you. No one is stopping you but you. So if you are actively choosing not to step on that other side of fear, a fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of whatever, like that fear is what's holding on to you. You are allowing it to control you.
Hold
And
on 1 minute. Somebody said they can't hear us. So look, that's the
how can we
devil.
be having a full conversation and
Let
don't
me
hear?
make sure.
I mean, I can hear you. Can everyone hear us?
Can you talk one more time?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me now?
Oh, shoot. I hope let's see. Can you hear me at us now? I hope.
Am I able to see the chat? I haven't seen the chat at all.
You should be if well, not on my end, but if you're on the internet, but
Oh, okay, I see it.
on your page. I just don't want to keep talking if I had this issue last time and I was not very happy because this is why one day I'm gonna have, but look, talk about speaking. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and she said we're good.
Okay, thank you. Because I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, one day I'm gonna have production doing all this. Okay.
You will. In Houston. Come on
Yeah.
out.
Oh, listen, I'm ready to leave. So, so tell me about okay, because there's so many things. You are a mother, you're a wife now, you're living in Houston. Like, tell me what that journey has been like for you.
It's been awesome. It's
Mm-hmm.
been the journey into wifehood and
Mm-hmm.
motherhood were one of the things that it was very much so, dang, I haven't done anything for the first time in a long time.
Mm.
And that was those that was it. Like, I did all the things that I just told you I did before I got married, and I feel
Yeah.
like that's a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was very much so like I got to a point in my life where I was like, excuse me, I've literally done everything that I can think of, which obviously I haven't literally done everything, but like I've
I
done
get
some
what you mean
some
though.
pretty solid things. Now's the time for me to start really focusing on other things that I want, which
Mm-hmm.
are, a family.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually, when I went to Kuwait, I went single, but my now husband, we were together before and then we broke up.
Okay.
So we broke up. I found my job and I was like, I'm single. I don't have any kids. I got my dog. My dog ended up going to stay with my cousin and then my dad and was just all over the place. Um, and I went to Kuwait and then we ended up getting back together while I was in Kuwait. We did
Wow.
long distance for the 2 years. He was actually planning to come out there, but he couldn't find a job.
Mm.
So he ended up staying and we stayed together. I did my 2 years. I came back. And I really didn't want to be honest. Like I really was enjoying my time in
Yeah.
Kuwait, but I also knew that I wanted to start a family. So
Mm-hmm.
then here we are where it's like, well, what are your priorities and what is it what's important to you right now? And it was getting back and settling down and us, figuring out and deciding what we're going to do to move, moving forward for our
Yeah.
relationship. So I came back, and that same year I came back for the end of that school year, so June, July. I came back, and then he proposed November um, at Thanksgiving dinner, and then we got married that next year, bought a house, um, and kind of just chilled there for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He works a lot, and he works out of town sometimes.
Okay.
So there was still a lot of like distance and different things like that we were working through. And then 2020, we started kind of transitioning to family building. And I was pregnant twice. I had an
Okay.
ectopic pregnancy and a
Okay.
miscarriage.
Okay.
Yes. And then shortly there, well, that next year, 2021, I got pregnant. Um, that February, and it's funny. I love telling the story because he was actually out of town, and I was planning to go out of town to go visit my cousin that weekend. Okay, wait. Our anniversary was the weekend prior. Our anniversary is after the day after Valentine's Day. So I
Okay.
went out to see him that weekend, and I wasn't fertile or ovulating or anything. So it was just like, whatever, no big deal. It
Yeah.
is what it is. So the next weekend, I wasn't thinking much about it. I wasn't expecting to see him. His best friend's father died. So then
Mm.
he ended up coming home for the funeral, and bing, bam, boom, because I hadn't left to go see my cousin yet. So then I
Mm.
leave to go see my cousin, and then boom, so, we got pregnant. And, I think that all happened, of course, for a reason because he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't supposed to be home. He
Mm.
was home. And, now we have our perfect little P that
Oh.
keeps me busy. I did mention he does have a neurological disorder.
Okay.
So he does have a neurological disorder. And he's just been the light of my life. He's the light of everybody's life. Like
Oh, he looks
everybody
like
loves
it too.
CJ. Everyone loves CJ, family, friends, his school, neighbors, like everybody loves that man. And for the most part, he loves everybody. He has his moments, but for the most part, he loves everybody. But he is definitely just my little everything. He's perfect. He has his, delays and things, and he's in a multitude of therapies and things working on his overall development. But that's another thing. I genuinely feel and believe God chose us for him and him for us. So he has everything he needs and more, and all the love. And so it's been good. It's definitely been a journey. It is not easy. And I think we kind of talked about that in Courtney's interview, where it's like, marriage is work, family is work. So it's definitely been tiring, because it's not just me. It's me and my husband, and me and my husband and our baby, and just the baby, and just my husband, and just me. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot, but it's all love. And
What I guess again, I don't even know what's going on with the sound. I can hear you can hear me, but I'm
I
like,
can hear you.
let me see. I'm gonna look on my. First of all, that's just your journey's just been so beautiful. I'm like, ah, I love it. Let me make sure. I'm gonna look on my channel to make sure. Let's see if I can. Okay, because I can hear. Yeah, I'm like, I can hear. So I don't know what's going on.
So it might be Leslie's
Maybe
side.
Leslie, I think you might. I don't know if it's you, Sugar, but yeah, I'm like, okay, let me make sure. But yeah, so first of all, thank you for sharing that journey of just even becoming a wife and a mother. I just think that it's a powerful journey for sure. And even like you talk about like everything happens for a reason. It's like your story, it just is a lot of like everything happens for a reason, and just the power of your words and like believing good things are gonna happen is like even through the trials that you may face. Like now you said you've had birthing issues, but like now you've have this perfect baby, and you're able to like grow and learn through him and this marriage that you have. So I just think I love it. I love this
And therapy helps, y'all. Therapy.
Listen, like she said before, get you some
Some
therapy. That
therapy,
is definitely
please.
part of the journey. Woo!
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
It definitely helps. So
Yes.
yeah.
So I definitely don't want to let you go without. First of all, I do have a few questions, but I definitely want to highlight. I have Tasha. She said, most definitely.
Hey,
I want to
Tasha.
highlight. I see behind you your travel agency.
Oh yes.
So I always like to highlight your business if you have one, and I know that you do have one. Did you ever go on your couples? You guys did your couples trip?
Yeah, so we have our annual couples trip every year.
Okay.
That I do. So next year I haven't announced where we're gonna go yet, but any couples y'all want to come, let me know. It is
Lord, pray.
open.
I'm gonna pray I got a man by next year.
You coming,
In
sis?
Jesus'
Coming.
name.
Amen. No, I
Listen,
definitely
you
get
just
ready
start
to
saying that out loud, because
Yes, you gotta speak
I
it.
just
You
was
gotta
thinking, I'll
speak
be like,
it.
Lord, oh, it would be so nice to have me a.
But again, whatever is for you will always be for you when it's your time. So
You're right.
you have to make sure that you were in a space to receive what he has for you. Because you'll get it, and then you'll be like, oh, I really wasn't ready.
No, I asked for
I
this,
really don't want to do it. And it's just like, baby, that's not what you asked for. You're not about to keep playing with my time. Because
I have Tasha. She said, hey, y'all. And then she said, I'll be able to go 1 year. Yes, we go in 1 year. Okay, it's going to come. So tell me about your travel agency. What's the name? And tell me about that. How long you been have had that?
Wow. I started my travel agency. It's called World Class Travel by Brianna.
Okay.
I started it really right when COVID was starting, actually. So
Mm,
that's a whole story in itself as well. What got me interested, of course, I've done all this traveling and I've,
mm-hmm.
lived in all these different places. And I'm always the friend that's booking everyone's trips and planning everything. And why am I not getting paid for this? Like, I
Okay.
missed out on so many years that I could have been getting paid. And I actually, my best friend's cousin, she would tell me about it, like, oh, you should be a travel agent. You should be a travel agent. I'd be like, girl, leave me alone. I don't want to be a travel agent. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would kind of just brush it off. But I really should have been listening. And then
Mm,
we had our destination wedding. So our
okay.
anniversary is February, but we had our wedding in July,
Mm-hmm.
in Mexico. And my travel agent um, accidentally sent me her spreadsheet with the pricing on it. And I realized how much commission was being made on the trip. So I was like, I could really be making like this much money. So it was like an eye opener for me. And I
That was
think
God. God's like, let me slide this across your eyes.
exactly what was needed, because I'm very much so, I need to see receipts.
Yeah.
Don't come talking to me about anything. If you can show me the receipts and show me what it is,
Yeah.
then it's making sense. Until then, it's just talk. So when I saw it, I was like, hey, this could be me. I could have done it,
Yeah.
So it was very much so the aha, like, you know what? And I reached back out to cousin and was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, like send me the information, let me check into it. And I took off from there. Because it's very simple to do. I won't get into it because that's not what this platform is for, but it was very simple to get
We
started.
might have to talk on the outside. Well, you know what? Ethan and I have talked, and I do feel like that would be a great add-on to Divinely Crowned. So we'll just talk afterwards.
Especially for some women's retreats and stuff. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly. Listen,
That's
that's
again
what
why
I
I'm
want
like,
to
you have
do.
diversify and find out ways that you can have multiple streams that
Yep.
still fit in your everyday life, your
Yes.
schedule. Like, so it's not, because you don't want it to be overwhelming.
No.
And that's the benefit of it. Because it is my business, I can scale it up or scale it down
Mm-hmm.
as much as I want. But yeah, so I started it. I haven't looked back. That was 2000. Was it 2000 or 19? It might have been the end of 19.
Mm.
Because this year will be about 4 years. I don't
Wow.
really keep up with dates, maybe. I can't
It
remember.
was one of them times a few years.
Yeah, it's been at least 3 years, but I want to say this year
Okay.
4 years in I think October. Um, so yeah, I haven't looked back. It's been awesome. It's been a beautiful experience being able to help people. Because the foundation of my business was, yes, the money was good when I saw it, but it was more so I know people live through me and my
Mm.
travels. And if I can help them get up and get out of their hometowns and go get their passports so that they can travel and do an experience just like I have,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah.
And I can get paid doing it.
Yeah.
Let's go. What are we talking about?
Listen.
So it was a no-brainer, again, because I was already doing it as well, and it was really easy to start. So I did it. I made it mine. I've, got my brand, my logo. I don't know if Q is in here, but my homeboy Q, who I met in Kuwait, he did my logo.
Okay.
I fell in love. It was like me to a T. And yeah, we just been rocking. So, I had, like you said, I have my annual couples trip every year, because I decided to start focusing more on groups. And I wanted to think about groups that I don't necessarily see often.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Me being a married woman, the majority of my friends are single.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we would go on trips with all my single friends, like me
Yeah.
and my husband, and it would be like we're the only couple.
The only couple.
Yeah, so I got to a point where I was like, and we don't have a problem with
Yeah.
with them, but it was like, why not create the space that I want to be in, right?
Yes.
Because I
Yes.
can sit back and talk about it and how I don't see it and complain about it and be negative and da 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 da, or I could be the change maker, you know?
Yeah.
So like, you know,
Yes.
I'm talking about doing groups. I want to think about populations that I feel like aren't necessarily being served as regularly. Boom, couples, and that's us.
Yes.
And we'll
I
be on
love
it. You
it.
know? So we do our annual couples trip. Last year we went to Dominican. This year we went to Mexico. Next year I'm between two destinations.
Okay.
I put it out. I'll be sure to share so you can share
Yes, she will.
with people. But yeah, it's been love. It's been
I
love. It's
love
been
it. Yeah, you definitely got me like, because
yeah,
like you
it's
said, like,
very it's awesome. It's lucrative, but it
mhm,
really is awesome seeing people go out and enjoy these trips that you put together for them,
yeah,
and then all the positive feedback that you get. So far, thank God, I haven't really gotten a significant amount of negative feedback. Like for the
that's
most
good.
part, people love the resorts that I send them to or the trips that I send them on. Thank God.
Listen,
We
I get
couldn't do it.
that.
But yeah, it's been love. It's been awesome,
That's
and you take care of
beautiful.
people. People take care of you. So I
Take
have
care of
loyal
you. That's
customers that come
facts. That's
back
how people
every
just want to be
year.
taken.
Yeah, I have people that come back every year. I have people that
Good.
send their friends and family. I don't really advertise much. You guys are welcome to follow my Instagram page. I don't
I put
advertise
it in the link.
much on there. As far as posts, if my clients like post me and then I'll
Hmm.
repost it, I will do that sometimes. But I really don't post as much because again, it's not my full-time job. So I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
really want it to scale up too much. But just the, referrals and word of mouth alone is love. So,
yeah.
all of that's been a blessing. Like this year, so far, group wise, I've had my couples trip. June was heavy on love. I had a couples trip, I had a destination wedding, I had a bachelorette party for my
Oh
homegirl.
my.
Yeah, like it was definitely big on love. So
Oh wow. Oh yeah, I definitely we might have to chat.
I got
I
you.
have Latoya. She said, "Hey y'all, hi sis," and then I
Hey,
have Risa. She did the hand clap.
hey.
So, oh my gosh, listen, I can talk to you all night, but I know I ain't gonna hold you up too long. You got baby and family, but I always have a few
You should be
questions and
asleep
just
by now.
yeah,
8:43. He better be
through
asleep
this
by now.
journey, like you have had a beautiful journey this far, and I already know it's gonna get even better. But I always have a few questions
It's
for
only up
that
from
I
here.
ask all my divine guests, and my first one is always, um, what confidence looks like to you. And before you answer that, you seem like a very confident person. You know, you talk about jumping and doing all these things. And a lot of this stuff you've done in your life, I do believe it takes confidence to be able to do this stuff. So, what does confidence look like to you?
Um, that's a good question. I think that's something that I probably need to journal about because I don't think
Mm,
I've ever really explored it. I
mhm,
think a lot of people do see me and they feel like and believe that I'm an extremely confident person.
mhm,
Um, and I'm not going to say that I'm not confident,
mhm, mhm,
but I think that I exude confidence because I believe in myself. I
mhm.
think that's the biggest thing. The yeah, and I really need to take some time to think. Just
Listen, I just gave you some life coaching, some confidence coaching, and and
y'all
while
better
you're
get with
saying,
sis, okay? She gonna have you thinking, okay?
okay,
She got the coaching. I'm sending you to therapy. We gonna get it together, okay? Y'all
listen,
better
power
tune in.
team. So with you saying that, and I love that you said what you said, like, I got to think about this, and people, how you perceive, like people would think you're a confident person, and that is what I always say is confidence isn't just an appearance thing. It's how you, like you said, like being able to take chances. That takes confidence to do that. Confidence is really how you make a lot of decisions in your life. Am I confident enough to say, okay, I'm going to do this? Am I confident enough to go to therapy? Am I like confidence looks like, that's why I always ask, what does it look like to you? So for
Yeah,
you to even be
because
like,
it's about you.
it
That's
is
the big
about
thing.
you.
It's really when you make your life and the decisions that you make about you, and you believe them, I think those things, and again, I'm gonna work through this. We might have to bring this back into part 2.
Okay.
But I think because I'm just kind of trying to step out of myself and imagining what people see when they see me or when they experience me. Because I can definitely come off a little hard sometimes. Like people used to think I was just like, this asshole, what is it, RBF, rest in B
Yeah, you
face.
got that.
It's very much so either that, or I can be the life of the party and I'm going to mix and mingle and socialize and have a good time, still with boundaries set in place, still, you know what I'm saying, not being sloppy and all over the place and extra. And there is a, I don't want to say a finesse to it, but
well, it kind of there's a thing that I say that I learned through my confidence journey, and I used to be like, you gotta fake it till you make it, but it's really you gotta act the way. And this lady she was like, you gotta act the way you want to feel until you feel the way you were acting. And so when you say like that, there's a finesse to it. It's like,
word. Let me write that down. What you say, girl?
I wish I could take full credit, but I definitely have this has been through my healing journey. I used to literally always say, I'm going to just fake it till I make it. I'm not happy right now. I'm not confident in myself, but I'm going to just fake it to make it. And this lady, I was a YouTube video. She's like, yeah, people always say like fake it till you make it. But no, you got to act the way you want to feel until you feel the way you were acting. I was like, and ever since and it's true. So like you're saying, like, I may come off or like I got this, maybe I finesse it, but the more you act that way,
I'm making it work for me, and I don't care what anybody else is doing or saying. I want to feel comfortable. I want to feel good about me, and whatever that looks like for me, that's what I'm going to do. And then in that acting, I have to believe it. You know what I'm saying? I think that's part of manifesting too. Is when you say that you want something, or you say that you want to be something or be somewhere or do something, it's believing what you're saying. Like you really have to believe. If you don't believe it, then no, that confidence isn't gonna. You don't believe it. Be confident in something that you don't believe.
Exactly. So, yes, and I have Tasha. She said, "I like that. Use it, girl. Use it. Take it. Everybody take it and use it. It's the truth. It's so. I mean, I've definitely used that. Being a confidence coach, I definitely have. I'm this because I know what it feels like to not be confident. And there are days, just like you said, I'm a counselor, but I still need therapy. I'm a whole confidence coach, but there are still days that I have to act until I feel, because it's a constant. Growing in your confidence is a constant journey as well. I feel like everything when it comes to yourself, your mental health, your mental well-being, your emotional well-being is a constant journey. You're constantly learning who you are and how to be a better version of yourself more and more. So it's like, listen, I still gotta say that. Yes. So one more I have one more question I like to ask with this journey you have been on, and you might be like, dang, I gotta write this in my journal. But what is something you would tell your younger self at this age, at where you're at in life right now? What would you tell young Brianna?
I would probably tell young Brianna to keep being you.
I love it.
Like I said, I was definitely that person that I was just there. I wasn't really interested in trying to follow this crew or trying to do that. Or don't get me wrong, I would want to go out and to the little clubs and stuff. And, my mom would be like, no. And, but even that's just activities. As far as like, I don't want to say you are the company you keep, because you're not. But at those ages and those stages, you kind of are, because you're so
easily influenced.
Right. So it's like, I see a lot of kids nowadays where they're like constantly wavering. Like one day they're like this and one day they're trying to fit in here. So they're ready to change everything about themselves. And I've just never been that person. And I would like to give that to my mom, But I just feel like I've always been that way, which I think is possible. Like that's just been my that's just my personality. That's just how I am. But I would definitely suggest to continue being you. Like I have very, very, very few regrets in life. And I believe that everything that has happened for a reason. And I think I was divinely led, guided to where I am today. And I think the huge foundational piece of that was me being comfortable in myself. Comfortable in myself as far as, because I mean, of course, I still had my insecurities. I still had my hard times where I'm navigating myself and my body and all these different changes and people that I'm around and, you know, but I just think overall I was still very comfortable in making decisions and choices and choosing again what crowds I wanted to be around, what environments I wanted to be in. So I would definitely say just continue being you. I think one thing that I've taken from someone, and they told me, Brianna, the one thing that I appreciate about you is you're consistent. No matter where you are, no matter who you're talking to, no matter who you're dealing with, you can always expect the same thing. You don't switch up. I don't match energy. I don't do any of that. I don't, you know, when I'm at work, of course I'm professional, but I'm still having a good time. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a way that you can do that. There's a way that you can have a great time and still be the utmost professional. You know? So, and I think that, you know, that has worked for me. But that's just how I am because it's exhausting trying to be all these different people.
Oh, yes.
Time. Like this is me.
And
This
you're gonna take it or leave it.
I like to think that I'm pretty awesome as I am.
Yes.
So
yes, you are. Listen, I love you even more with after this conversation. I'm coming to Houston. We could be friends in real life.
Come on down. I'm here. You know, my door is always open. I love exposing people to new experiences. I love supporting people where I can support people.
Yes.
I know there are some people that, you know, are a little more on the guarded side. Like my husband that gets so annoyed that I'm so social because he's just like, I think he thinks I'm more naive than anything. I will talk to a complete stranger and I know their whole life by the end of our conversation. But I genuinely don't believe that God would put anyone in my life that would harm me in a way that it would be like detrimental. Granted, if that were to happen, so be it. It is what it is.
They'll reap what they sow because of how you are.
And also, again, everything happens for a reason.
Happens for a reason,
right? So good, bad, happy, sad, whatever he has for me, cool. You know. And it's funny because one of my homegirls that I'm pretty close with, one of my coworkers, she sent me a sermon from her pastor about understanding the assignment because I have been dealing with some stuff. And when she sent me the sermon, it was literally exactly what I had been dealing with. And it, like what he was saying you should do and la, la, la is really what I had done. But I think that was reaffirming for me. So it's very much so, again, even if I'm in a space where I'm just like, is this for me? Like, this is ghetto. Like, what is going on here? I do not deserve this. What is happening? This is not okay. But you know, that reaffirmed because after the particular situation I'm thinking about, I got in my car, I cried, and I asked God, like, I don't know what you're doing, but if I'm supposed to be like this punching bag and the person that's supposed to be taking and dealing with what I'm dealing with right now, I just ask you for more strength because baby, I'm tired.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying? But that's why perspective and that's why choice in being positive or negative and things like that is important. because I could have gotten in my car and cried and why me and this is so hard and it's always me and da 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 da. Baby, ask for strength. If it's hard, ask for strength. If you don't,
girl, okay, because you trying to give me some gems. I'm like, this whole it's crazy how life works. This interview was supposed to be today. Okay,
playing. God don't play with us. Y'all better stop playing with him.
Listen here.
I done told y'all, stop playing and get yourself together. He's not about
I hear it. No one else hears. I hear everything you saying tonight. Okay. And Tasha, she said she is. And I believe that's to how I talked about you. Just awesome. So I always like to leave. I always like to leave some room at the end. I always say I'm gonna let the royal mic is yours. So is there anything that you would like to say that maybe I didn't ask or anything you want to touch on before I let you go that, the mic is yours?
Not really. I mean, I feel like we need to keep it going to the 2-hour mark. I don't know why, but we have been in this thinging. And I just feel like to say we did 2 hours.
2 hours
the whole time. It was a vibe the whole time.
I love this. You just been dropping so much wisdom. And like for me personally, like you talk about like, am I supposed to be in it? Like, or what am I doing? This is ghetto. And it's like, that is kind of the shift I'm in right now. Like great things are happening, for my business and my brand. But at the same time, there's still so much like on the back end that people don't see. And I just was even messaging a friend today about like how I was feeling. And I'm just like, I don't even know. Like, is this still what I'm passionate about? Like, I love this, but it's like, I'm not seeing what I want to see. And it's just so much, but like you just saying like, listen, you got to jump. You got to just go for things. You got to speak. Like I'm always saying, you got to speak life and there's power in the tongue and things like that. And it's just like, this whole interview has been confirmation that it's time to amp it up. So even more, if y'all see Divinely Crowned doing some crazy things, she might be training me to be a travel agent. Okay.
Better tune in. Sis gonna get y'all together. But that's my thing. It's funny you say that because that's what my response to that was going to be. Make it work. Even if the business that you're starting isn't moving as quickly as you wanted to, or it's not as lucrative as you thought it was going to be, it's okay to still do that and get a 9-to-5 or still do that and start another business. You can do it all at one time. You don't have to completely give up on it. And then in the midst of that, like I said, ask for additional strength, ask for additional guidance. Is there something that I'm not seeing? Is there something that I need to do? But the same homegirl, she told me to ask my question, but then also ask for an actual sign.
Oh, yeah.
And I did that. And I was just kind of like, at first I was kind of like waiting for the sign. Like, when is it? Because I didn't ask for it in a time period either. I just asked for the sign. I asked for something that I wouldn't typically see, right? Like, so when I see it, it's not like, oh, I see that all the time. That's something that you wouldn't typically see. And after a while, I was just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna just chill. Whenever it happens, it happens. It probably took maybe like 2 or 3 weeks. And I saw the sign. I was like, oh, this is it.
Man.
But it'd be crazy though, because it's like, as much as I rock with God, every time he does something, I still be like, bro, really? Really?
No,
yeah,
for real.
You got it right. You got it. I knew you was coming.
Listen.
So it's like, if you ever get into a space where you're just trying to navigate and trying to figure stuff out. Like I said, I was looking for a job for 1.5 years before Kuwait fell in my lap, just randomly out of nowhere. Never would have even thought to look in another country. I'm looking, Georgia, hard, whatever. Like I said, I'm waitressing, I'm Ubering, I'm waitressing, and people are like, you have a master's degree and military experience. Why are you waitressing?
That's crazy.
I don't know, but and that's another thing, again, with the perspective shift. I could have been in a space where I was sad and depressed and
Mhm.
sulking and why me, and yeah, I have a master's degree in military experience and I'm waitressing and because I can't find a job and I'm just, ready to just give up on everything. But
Yeah.
no, I enjoyed that time while, you know what I'm saying, while I was living my little life and I was
Yeah.
just kind of like still job searching. And when I find something, I find it. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to be upset about it. I'm not going to get frustrated. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to keep myself in a positive mindset. I'm going to go to work, do my job. They were, even though it was waitressing, it was at places that I enjoyed. And, I'm socializing with the usuals that come in and like I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
I'm present. I'm intentional.
Mhm.
I am appreciative. I'm blessed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have everything that I need right now. I'm
Mhm.
not, struggling significantly. I'm blessed. And,
Yes.
and taking that and keeping that and having that and appreciating that is really what is most important. And I think those having that is what continues to elevate me. I think.
Yes. Oh, I love this. This is just all the things I needed
It's
today.
very important to just always be appreciative
Of
for
yes.
what you have.
Of the
Like
journey. Literally.
the journey too, even if you don't think it's that great, you have something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so one thing that I do so I'm a school counselor
Mhm.
and I'm the lead counselor on my campus. So and yeah, I'm the lead counselor on my campus. And what I like to do with my teams is at the end of the day, we do what I call 3 good things. And,
Okay.
at the end of the day, we come one of our offices and we talk about 3 good things that has happened today. Because
Mhm.
oftentimes we allow the negative to crowd and block out
I
everything
love that.
else. When you come, you plop down in the chair in my office, you stressed out. This parent came and said da 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 to me, and Mr. So and so, we had a meeting today, and he tried to. So that's your focus, and you are
Yeah.
stuck in the negative. So instead of staying stuck in the negative, because it's so easy to do that, let's
Mhm.
focus on what was actually good about the day.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very rare that we do that, right?
Yeah. That is true.
And
I'm take
people
that.
really, it's hard. Like people
Yeah.
really have to sit sometimes and think about 3 good things out of their entire day. You were
Yeah.
just at work for the last 8, 9 hours. Some people pulling 12-hour shifts. What are 3 good things out of the day? Even simple, because I think a lot of people think good things always have to be like these grand
Big
things.
thing. Yes.
Like I got paid, or I bought a house, or I took a vacation. Baby, you woke up this morning.
It woke
That's a
up.
blessing.
Listen, even like I always say, like, and with my clients, I do this a lot. Like, have you acknowledged that you don't respond in the same way that you used to, or
Yeah.
you don't like, there's so many little things that people don't realize, like, wow, it might be a little thing, but this is actually a big
It's
deal.
huge.
Like,
Yeah.
and you got to celebrate the small wins. So, like you saying that, I love that. I'm going to do that with my kids too. Like, it's good to do stuff like that. Okay. So, I know you and your brother argued all day, Ramaya. This is my daughter. But like, what great things did you have? And I do this when they go to school. Like, so what, like I saw this list one time, like, don't just ask your kids how their day was. Like, ask them, what was your favorite part of the day?
Right.
Like, was it lunch? Was it bad? Like art? And it's like, yeah, those things are even good to instill in your children, because that's what, like, those little things are like, oh, wow, actually, it was not as bad of a day. There was
It
bad
really
moments, but the
wasn't.
day
Like,
was
yeah, no.
actually good.
Yeah. And then typically you end up realizing that you have more than 3 things. Like,
Yes.
yes, you woke up this morning is kind of like the default if you really
Yes.
can't think of anything. But there are a lot of different things. Like I was able to sit and eat breakfast this morning, or I had
Yes.
a really good meeting with a parent today, or I was able to help a student, or I got a sweet text from my husband,
Yeah.
or like there's so many things that can be great about the day, but we just allow them to be clouded out by negativity.
Yeah.
And this is not to say, let's just act like negative things aren't
No,
a thing.
for
Like, yeah,
sure.
there was some, crappy moments in the day, but you either choose to focus on those or you choose to focus on what was actually good about the day.
Yep.
Because whatever has happened, you can't change anyway. So what is
Yeah.
the point of you focusing and dwelling on the negative in the day? You move
Yes.
on. You either change what you can change about it, or you can't change anything. That's it. It's done.
That's it. And
What you
that's
dwelling
all.
on it gonna do? So
Listen.
yeah,
I
I'm
love this. Listen,
positive
first of all, I have
mindset.
Tasha. She said, amazing, LOL. And then she said, child. I don't know if you like, she reminded me of Sarah Jake. She'd be like, child.
She's supposed to actually be coming to, I don't know if it's Houston or.
Well, shoot. Wait, isn't she in Austin?
I don't follow her, but my cousin actually sent me because she wanted me to go to the retreat that she's doing.
In September.
And I honestly didn't know who she was. I didn't know who she was. I would have looked at her page. Yeah. So I'm not a very religious person. As much as I'm on here talking about God and what He's done for me and how much He loves me, baby, I'm blessed. That was my first tattoo. Blessed. I got it back in college because I knew and I've always known that God loves me and He's always.
And that's where religion versus relationship, and you have a relationship,
correct.
Whatever that relationship.
So you're not gonna find me quoting Bible verses.
Listen,
you're not gonna find me at church.
I love the Lord, and I still can't quote no Bibles.
I love the Lord, and He knows my heart.
Okay, He knows your heart.
And that's all that matters. And I will go to church. Don't get me wrong. I do go to church sometimes. Yes. And I was raised 7-day Adventist as well.
Okay.
So I go to church on Saturdays. So I will go to church for sure, here and there. But for the most part, my relationship with God is lit. And
that's what
knows my heart.
That's what all that matters.
What works for us works for us.
Yes.
It's like your relationship. Don't let nobody tell you what to do with your husband and your wife. Like, y'all do what y'all want to do for y'all.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Period.
Yeah. He definitely blesses me, and I think that's because I am a faithful servant.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Sometimes I be tripping, and I'll be
like,
okay.
Listen,
you are acting like you don't know that this man has you. You gotta chill. What are you worried about? You be having to remind yourself, but for the most part,
it's all part of the journey. Man, first of all, I was like, I've never been on here past 2 hours. So, or not, I think close. I've never been on here at 2 hours. So go ahead.
And you still banging, so
I love it. Yeah. So I'm like, is this thing gonna cut off? Because this is the platform I'm using. But I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but we just gonna keep talking.
It is what it is.
This is still my cup.
We need to do a part 2. I'm with it.
Listen, I'm telling you, I already 2024. I'll just say, because I'm gonna put it out there. My hope and my desire and what I plan to do is a live podcast recording. So, and hopefully next year. And I just want a lot of my queens from, this where I've been for the last year to be on. And I would love to have you on and really I'm going to make a whole event out of it. So just be prepared, y'all.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm excited.
Yes. Well, I always like to give my queens their flowers for being on. So I just want to tell you, thank you for just your inspiration. You are amazing, an amazing Black queen. Okay. And I'm just so inspired by you. Thank you for your willingness to come on and share your journey, your inspiring journey. And just thank you for being you and all you've done this far to serve and make the world literally. And I know that sounds like cliche, but like you're making the world a better place by just being who you are and being obedient and using the gifts that you have to be a positive impact. So thank you for that. And thank you again for being on here. And I just can't wait to see what's next with you. You ain't going nowhere in my life now.
Next too, child, because it's always something. And that's why I'm like, you have to, when you ask for it, you better be ready.
You gotta be ready.
I'm sad. But everything that I have asked for at some point.
Man.
And when I receive it and I go with it. I don't sit and ask questions and unless you need guidance, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't quit. I'm just like, okay. All right.
I love
it. When you're tired, ask for that strength.
Ask for the strength. Listen, that's what I need to ask for a lot of strength right now. Okay.
Yeah, you got it. He's gonna give it to you. Don't you worry.
Well, Brianna, thank you again for your time. I'm going to try to just click you off and end and see if it still works. Like I can still have you on just to kind of, talk afterwards. But if not, I will link up with you after. But thank you again. Thank you to everybody in the comments, the views,
Yay. Thank
everything
y'all for
tonight. It's
coming
just been a
in.
great divinely crowned conversation.
Yay.
So for those who have tuned in, thank you. Those who will listen later, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate everyone. And just remember, until next time, you are divinely crowned.
Yeah.